right? Not only was the issue around Namibia, there was also an issue of where I was making more money through was through pathways, CIMA pathways, right?
Okay.
CFO pathway, there was the CSAP pathway, right? But now they were delaying the process of approving my applications until I had to send an email to both Miss Rampasad and Miss Mutizwa, right? Asking them to give me perhaps an opportunity to assess. But I'm not an independent individual because I have an interest. But I offered, okay, let me rather assess these students and you guys can approve because they were taking long. I remember this is a process that's supposed to take at least about 2 weeks, right? Let's say latest 8 weeks. But some would go 6 months, close to a year, with my students not being approved. And this affected my cash flow as well, right? That's not the only issue. CIMA was not going to employers. So I devised a strategy and spoke to Mrs. Mutizwa and told her, look, allow me to approach employers as a CIMA ambassador so that I can market CIMA, get more students, put them through the ISAF accelerated route, and ensure that CIMA gets the numbers it needs, and I get the money I want as a business. I had employees to pay. I had rentals to pay. I had bills to pay, and my business was suffering. All right. So at that point, these are some of the issues that happened, right? But we will get to your question now. How was the transition and what fostered the move, right? The businesses were not performing well. We were now in a financial setback.
Yeah.
Right. And now being in a financial setback, my wife then said, we are leaving for the US, not for the PhD, but let's take the master's programs. At least maybe they will open other doors.
Yeah.
Right. So
at this point, you were left with no choice. You decided to rather resolve this CIMA issue. As you move to the USA, you probably would resolve that there. But what about these other companies? Did you?
So the companies remained operational.
Okay.
With minimal overheads.
Okay.
We were now operating virtually. We shut down the offices. I retrenched, right? And I think I remained with very few employees.
Yeah.
Then I had to redeploy some of the employees to clients so that at least they have work to do. So I spoke to my clients, told them, look, I will put so and so here so that they can do the work in your office. You can now pay them directly and all that. Then, fortunately, my clients agreed and it was done.
You had no choice at this point. You really had to structure things that way.
Certainly. So here was come to the issue of the two students who paid. Actually, the students had been invoiced in 2022 and the invoices are based on 2022 CIMA FLP prices, right? Now, both students approached me. Now, remember, in June or in May, Miss Rampasade told me that uh, uh, I will not be allowed to register learners under the FLP with CIMA, right? But that does not mean that did not mean that I cannot enroll learners with my institution as long as I had plans to resolve the issue, right? And I'd communicated my plans to both Miss Rampasad and Miss Mutizwa. I expected funds in the US and I told them, right? Now, this is the issue that they now use against me, that you had been suspended, but there was a contingent. It wasn't a suspension. There was a halt, yes, but it was a contingent suspension based on the basis that CIMA invoice gets paid. And there was a plan to settle that invoice, right? So I intended to enroll more students, and I actually had more students who were planning to enroll, right? Those students enrolled, I was going to easily settle the CIMA invoice. But Mrs. Rambasad was telling learners not to enroll.
Wow. That's a serious sabotage, eh?
Yes, she was telling people not to enroll. One of the students told me that she was told not to enroll. And she asked me if I had a plan. Then I told her, so I'm going to mention by name. I told her, Tando, yes, I do have a plan. Right? She trusted me. Right? But little did I know that, and at this time, I did not know that all along it was sabotage. I just assumed that, things are happening. But only after this issue came out, that's when I realized, oh, I was being sabotaged all along. So I didn't even think of reporting the issue, right? And I didn't even think of complaining as sabotage,
Because
right?
you had not trust in the system, the same system that you.
I had trust at that point, but when I heard that Ramona was telling learners not to enroll with me, because had all these learners enrolled, the CIMA invoice would have been,
Paid, yeah.
settled, and I would have easily put my learners within the program, and my business would have been a going concern.
Yeah.
But it was no longer feasible because all learners pulled out.
Yeah.
And this issue, right, whenever learners would go to CIMA, instead of them giving them assurance that I am of a noble character and have good intentions, they would tell them negative things, until the students started coming after me thinking that my intention was to take their monies and run away to the US. But I never used any cent from these students to come to the US. Right? For me to come here, for me to buy the tickets to be here, I sold the car I was driving then. I was driving a Range Rover. I sold the Range Rover and bought tickets
Mm.
for the family, right? For me to, there was a deposit that the school wanted. Actually, I lied. Sorry about that. For me to pay the deposits, that's when I sold the car,
Okay.
right? I first sold the first car that I was driving. It was an old Mercedes, right? I think you know that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold that one first, and then I sold the Range Rover. Then I paid the deposits to come to school, right?
Okay. Mm.
Yeah. And then to buy the tickets, right? We actually bought our tickets very late. It was around August. And we had to come here in September. We wanted to leave South Africa earlier, but we didn't have the finances.
Mm.
Right. So one of my VAT clients paid a lump sum because I charged basic plus commission on VAT, right? I was group CFO at that company before, and then I was a consultant thereafter, right? So one of my clients paid a lump sum, right? Though to this very day they still owe me some money, but they paid a lump sum at that time, right? And it is that money that I used to buy tickets for the family's travel to come to the United States.
At this
Right.
point, the amount that you have received is just enough to get you to the USA, or you do have a
No,
little bit of extra.
I had not a little bit, I had extra,
Okay.
right? I had extra. And the extra I had, remember, that was extra in my personal account.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the business. The students had paid sometime in July, but it was not a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? The money was there in the account, right? I came to, and remember, this money was based on 2022 prices. I came to the US, right? And when I came to the US, there was another student who paid, a pathway student, right? And when she paid, there was an issue. Somebody tried to use my card. I don't know how it happened, but somebody used my card on Amazon. I reported the case to FNB. Immediately the profile was blocked, right? So I could not transact with the money that I had from the business,
Okay.
right? So, and here I am, students are thinking I ran away because that's what they're being told by CIMA, but yet CIMA officials knew that I was going to South Africa, to the United States, and I am open and clear with them.